And the timing for this speech, timekeeper, is 5 to 7 minutes. So welcome, Peter. As you mentioned before Peter starts the speech, we usually have a single evaluator for the speech, but for today's purpose we're going to do what we call a round robin evaluation, and that is where everyone has an opportunity to say what they liked about the speech in terms of commendations and recommendations with regard to the speech. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, you're welcome. Toastmasters and guests. Rosa Louise Parks, born in 1913 and died in 2005, aged 92. And she was a most unique person in the world. She is one woman who made a difference. One woman who made a difference. On December the 1st of 1955, Rosa got onto a bus to go home after a day's work as a seamstress in a local clothing factory. Montgomery was then a small city of about 120,000, of which 40,000 were black Americans. These were cruel, segregated times. Whites-only churches, whites-only elevators, whites-only schools, toilets, and the merciless Ku Klux Klan. To get on a bus in those days, an African-American person would mount to the front of the bus, buy a ticket from the bus driver, return to the street, go to the rear of the bus, enter a rear door, and sit at the back of the bus with the others. In the middle of the bus, on the inside, was a sign which divided the front where the white folks sat to the rear where the black people were. And if the driver found the front was filling up too much, he'd walk up to the sign and push it back until the African American folks get out of their seats and shift back so the white people could sit. On the day in question, Rosa Parks was told to shift back by the driver, and she said, "I will not give up my seat." Now, all hell broke loose, mayhem, a furor. This has never been done before. The police came, arrested her, took her to the police station. She was fingerprinted, photographed, 7053, a criminal number. And the next day she appeared in court, found guilty of being a public nuisance and contravening the state segregation laws. She was fined $14, which is 2 days' wages. She was fined $14, but that was only the beginning of it, because there was a huge demonstration outside the courthouse. There were hundreds and hundreds of people there supporting her already. The word of her resistance had electrified the African American community, and they decided to go into passive resistance immediately. Well, they did. And they boycotted the buses. They refused to use the buses. They walked, they cycled, they carpooled, they taxi pulled, and for over 12 months they did not use the city buses. This caused another difficulty, but it succeeded in bringing the city to loss of money. They went broke. It crippled the city finances because of what she did. History records the incidents as the Montgomery bus boycott. Losing revenue from thousands of bus fares succeeded in crippling the economy. One person, Rosa Parks, will always be remembered as the one who changed the course of history. One woman who changed the world, and it would never be the same again. And she did it with a single bus ride, and she became anointed as the mother of the freedom movement. Rosa Parks was granted over 40 honorary doctorates, 40. And in 1996, President Clinton awarded her the President's Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor that can be bestowed upon a civilian in USA. In 1999, Time magazine appointed her as one of 20 most influential people of the 20th century. How about that? Within days of the explosive bus ride, the news of Rosa Parks' resistance resonated throughout the southern states of USA. There were thousands of supporters around her, thousands, but she passed the freedom baton on to another young man, and he ran with it. He made a difference.
Yeah.
His name was Martin Luther King. Rosa worked tirelessly for the civil rights movement for the rest of her life. And I am so impressed by the courage and tenacity of this woman. Aren't you?
Yep.
Ask yourself now, what did Rosa do that you can't do? What was her start in life compared to yours? How was your school life compared to Rosa's? Rosa's attended school, but only whites had school buses. The African American kids had to walk to school. School, would you call it that? 50 in a class, all ages, poorly equipped, not enough desks, most of them sat on the floor. However, a pencil divided into 3 can go a long way. What opportunities were provided at your school? For the African American kids in Alabama, school was for only 5 months of the year. In the 1920s, the priority work was in the farms. That's what they got. Rosa left school at age 16 to care for her grandmother, her frail grandmother. She remembers nights, though, lying in her bed, quivering and praying, as she could hear the Ku Klux Klan going past her house on the way to another burning or lynching. Did you ever suffer such paralyzing fear at night when you were young? In spite of these privations, Rosa dared to smash the glass. She smashed the glass. John Mason wrote, "If you dare nothing, you should expect nothing." If you dare nothing, you should expect nothing. But I'm saying to you, you have a head start on Rosa. You are educated, you are gifted, you are privileged. There is nothing you cannot achieve that Rosa achieved. For so many, our greatest regrets are those things we couldn't do, those things we didn't do, those things we should have done. Is there a cause in injustice simmering in your heart? Is there something that you need to put right? What could it be? I surely don't know what you're thinking. Don't imagine you have little of any value compared to Rosa. You have many, many, many times more skills and abilities. I have shown you that. And it takes one. It takes one, and it takes you, or the person sitting next to you, to achieve these magnificent things. There was a champion of the power of one, an unknown author who wrote, "One candle can illuminate a darkened room. One vote will change a government. One tree can start a forest. One smile can start a friendship. One star can guide a ship at night." Finally, he wrote, "One life can make a difference. One life can make a difference." And I say, your life can make a difference. It's up to you. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Peter, for a very fascinating and illuminating speech topic. I'm not familiar with this particular story. I imagine most of us, having watched television, are aware of some of the inequities that would have occurred many years ago, not only in southern USA, but elsewhere around the globe. So it's actually great to hear that story of one person who did make a difference. So thank you for sharing that with us, Peter, today. We've now concluded the prepared speech section of the meeting, and we're now moving into the evaluation section of the meeting. So I'm going to call on Ange now, not Ange, Sarah, to come forward and give her table topics evaluation. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi Toastmasters and our guests. So today I'm the table topics evaluator. So the way we evaluate speeches at Toastmasters to take a CRC approach, so that's using a commendation, then a recommendation and followed by a commendation. So first up today we had Ange as the table topics master. I really loved how Ange introduced herself and her work and how it was going to apply to table topics today, and her great use of props for table topics. One recommendation I had for Ange is at the beginning of her speech she tended to play with her jacket a little bit and clasped her hands. So when we speak we try to keep our hands by our sides when they're not using arm actions rather than keeping them clasped. Whenever Ange talks, I always love her enthusiasm. She's always got so much enthusiasm when she talks. And today she not only just gave us a topic, she also described it really well before each person came up, which I really enjoyed. And then our first speaker today was Nick, who was talking about being good at making things. I loved the start of Nick's speech, how he came forward to all of us with his card and showed us the card, which I think gets us involved in his speech. Nick is always very animated. I love his arm actions and also his expression in his voice when he speaks. So today I didn't have any recommendations for Nick. Did anyone else have a recommendation for Nick? I couldn't find any for his speech today.
I think that just the one recommendation, and it's a reflection of how the meeting itself has gone. There's been so much content being dealt with today. Two very great speeches. And one thing about learning leadership is about time management. So it's about trying to operate to within the time limit. So a recommendation to Nick is to look at the timing. Excellent speech topic. It's one of those ones that may have been difficult to kind of squeeze in, but it's a recommendation I would like to make to Nick and indeed just for everyone to take on board. Thank you.
Thanks. So our next speaker was Stuart, talking about being full of energy. So again, we were drawn into the speech straight away with his running demonstration at the start of the speech, which I really love, so it grabbed our attention. A recommendation for Stuart is sometimes, it was a bit hard to see from there, but I felt sometimes he might have been just looking slightly at the floor rather than at the people in the audience. And another recommendation is perhaps to put down the card after looking at it, so then you can use your arms for gestures. But again, Stuart really got us involved in the story, and I loved his descriptive words, like saying at the start of his speech, "This is a true story, folks," which again drew us into his story, and the expression in his voice that he used for his story. Lastly, we had